Welcome to ancient Egypt, where dying was basically an extreme sport mixed with a government audit. We've got jackal-headed HR reps, soul-splitting ghost squads, and gods with more family drama than a reality TV show. Stick around.
Welcome to the Pantheon of poor decisions, where ancient Egypt's gods ruled with chaos, jealousy, and some truly bizarre choices. Forget dignified pharaohs. This is mythology's wildest blooper reel with cosmic battles, divine betrayals, and enchanted lettuce. Buckle up, things are about to get weird. Welcome to ancient Egypt. The Egyptian gods are profoundly human, riddled with envy, rage, and ego. Their stories are a glorious mess of grudges, cosmic bar fights, and wild solutions, like getting a goddess drunk on beer dyed as blood. They're not paragons of virtue, but cautionary tales, flawed, chaotic, and endlessly entertaining. In ancient Egypt, there were no rules, just a wild, ever-changing mix of stories and gods. Creation could happen by speech, a sneeze, or something stranger, and all versions were true. Egyptians embraced the chaos, letting magic and contradiction shape their world. It's a mythology where anything is possible, and that's what makes it so fascinating. Ra, the sun god, saw humanity getting rebellious. Instead of a wise warning, he plucked out his own eye, literally, and turned it into a fierce goddess, the Eye of Ra. She was pure divine rage, sent to punish humans. Subtlety, not her style. Ra's plan was overkill. What could possibly go wrong? The Eye of Ra, as Sekhmet, unleashed divine fury on humanity. No negotiations, just relentless punishment. Fields ran red, her rampage unstoppable. Even Ra couldn't call her off. The gods watched in horror as their creation spun out of control, learning the hard way that Ra was a terrible manager of cosmic forces. A new, even more ridiculous plan was needed. Faced with the utter failure of Plan A, Ra gathered his divine council for an emergency brainstorming session. The problem: his daughter/eyeball was on a murderous spree and wouldn't answer his calls. Logic had failed. Pleading had failed. A new, more cunning strategy was required. And this is where the story takes a sharp turn from divine tragedy into cosmic farce. The god of wisdom, Thoth, the one you'd expect to come up with a clever, elegant solution, basically suggests they should get her absolutely plastered. That's not a joke. The official divine plan to prevent the apocalypse was to get the goddess of destruction blackout drunk. The plan was as simple as it was absurd. They would brew a colossal amount of beer, 7,000 jars of it to be precise, but regular beer wouldn't do. Sekhmet was hooked on the color red, the color of blood, so they gathered red ochre from the deserts of Elephantine and mixed it into the vats, dyeing the beer a deep, tempting crimson. The goal was to create a beverage that looked exactly like a massive pool of human blood. They then poured this intoxicating concoction all over the fields of Dendera, right in the path of Sekhmet's ongoing rampage, hoping she would be too bloodthirsty to notice the difference. As dawn broke, Sekhmet arrived, ready for another day of slaughter. She saw the fields flooded with what she assumed was the aftermath of a particularly successful night's work. Delighted, she waded in and began to drink. And drink. And drink. She lapped up the blood-red beer with gusto, the sheer volume of it quenching her thirst for violence. The alcohol hit her hard. The furious, lion-headed goddess of vengeance slowly transformed. Her rage subsided, her bloodlust faded, and she became drowsy, placid, and completely inebriated. The divine killing machine passed out in a field, drunk on 7,000 jars of spiked beer, and so humanity was saved. Not by divine wisdom, not by heroic sacrifice, but by a celestial prank involving alcohol substitution. Ra and the other gods essentially roofied their own enforcer to stop her from finishing the job they'd sent her to do. The day was saved, and the surviving humans could crawl out of their hiding places, blinking in the sunlight, probably very confused. The great goddess of destruction was pacified, and in her drunken stupor, she transformed back into the gentle, loving goddess Hathor, the deity of joy, music, and parties. The crisis was averted, and all it took was a hangover of cosmic proportions. After Sekhmet's rampage, Ra wept for the world nearly destroyed. From his tears, new life sprang forth. Humanity, born from sorrow and chaos. According to this myth, we're the result of a cosmic cleanup, not divine foresight. The Eye of Ra meltdown was just the beginning. The divine chaos was only getting started. The war between Horus and Seth is the ultimate family feud. 80 years of chaos, trickery, and cosmic slapstick. Horus, the golden heir, faces his uncle Seth, god of the desert and chaos. in a battle of order versus mayhem. Their feud shaped Egyptian kingship and the eternal struggle between Nile's order and desert's chaos. To settle their endless feud, the gods hold a contest. Horus and Seth must transform into hippos and see who can hold their breath underwater the longest. Isis, worried for Horus, hurls a magical harpoon, accidentally spearing her own son. Chaos erupts. Horus storms off, Isis gets a cow's head, and the gods prove they're terrible at conflict resolution. After the hippo decapitation fiasco, the feud between Horus and Seth descends into even more personal and bizarre territory. The contests of strength having failed, Seth decides to try a different tactic: humiliation. He invites his young, handsome nephew Horus over for a party, ostensibly to bury the hatchet. The real plan, however, is far more sinister and deeply weird. Under the cover of darkness, Seth assaults Horus, intending to dominate him physically, and thus prove his superiority and unsuitability to rule. In Seth's mind, this act of violation would make Horus appear weak and submissive before the other gods, thereby ending his claim to the throne once and for all. However, Seth underestimates both Horus and his mother Isis, who, despite the recent beheading incident, is still firmly on her son's side. Horus, though assaulted, manages to cleverly catch Seth's semen in his hands before it can touch him. He runs straight to his mother, hands cupped, and tells her what happened. Isis, never one to be outdone in a scheme, reacts not with despair, but with cunning fury. She cuts off her son's now defiled hands, throws them in the river, and magically grows him a new pair. Then she retrieves some of Horus's own semen and hatches a plan of truly epic mythological revenge. This is where the lettuce comes in. Isis takes her son's contribution and spreads it, like a magical dressing, all over the leaves of some fresh lettuce. Now, you have to know that lettuce was Seth's favorite food. In fact, for reasons that are probably best left unexamined by modern science, the Egyptians considered it to be a powerful aphrodisiac. Isis, knowing this, sends Horus to offer the enchanted salad to his uncle as a seemingly innocent gesture of goodwill. Seth, completely oblivious to the trap and delighted by the sight of his favorite snack, devours the entire plate of lettuce with great enthusiasm. He has no idea that he has just consumed a potent dose of his nephew's magical essence. The trap is now set. Seth believes he has successfully dominated and shamed Horus. He is confident that when he goes before the divine tribunal, he will be declared the victor. He marches into the godly courtroom, ready to announce his triumph and claim the throne permanently. He is swaggering, arrogant, and completely unaware that he has been played. The lettuce, a seemingly mundane vegetable, has become the vessel for a counterattack so strange, so unexpected, that it will turn Seth's moment of victory into his ultimate public humiliation. The stage is set for one of the most bizarre paternity tests in the history of mythology. In the divine court, Seth claims victory over Horus, but when he calls for proof, nothing happens, except a magical moon baby emerges from his own forehead. The gods are stunned, Seth is humiliated, and Thoth adopts the moon child. Horus wins, not by strength but by cunning, turning Seth's scheme into cosmic ridicule. Even after the head-birthing humiliation, the war wasn't quite over. The gods, who apparently have the attention spans of gnats, decide on yet another contest. This time, it's a boat race. But to make it interesting, they declare that the race must be held in boats made of stone. The first one to sail their stone boat across the finish line will be crowned King of Egypt. Seth, ever the literalist and brute, goes to the mountains, carves a massive, magnificent boat out of a solid block of stone, and with immense effort, drags it to the Nile. It's a testament to his power and determination. It's also, of course, a boat made of stone. As soon as he launches it, it sinks like one. Horus, meanwhile, proves that he is much cleverer than his uncle. He builds a boat out of pine wood, but then covers it with a thin layer of plaster painted to look exactly like granite. From the riverbank, it looks for all the world like a beautifully crafted stone boat. He launches his vessel, and to everyone's amazement, it floats perfectly. When Seth sees Horus sailing serenely down the Nile in what he believes is a floating stone boat, he is consumed with rage and envy. Thinking Horus has discovered some secret stone-floating magic, he makes a fatal error in judgment. He decides to transform himself into a hippopotamus again. In his hippo form, Seth dives underwater and attacks Horus's boat from beneath, intending to capsize it and drown his nephew. The boat, being made of wood, is easily damaged. As Seth's massive form rams the hull, the plaster cracks and falls away, revealing the pine wood underneath. Horus has been caught cheating. the race is immediately thrown into chaos. Horus grabs his harpoon, ready to defend himself, while Seth continues his furious assault on the fraudulent vessel. The other gods, watching from the shore, just throw up their hands in despair. Another contest, another complete and utter failure to resolve anything. This boat race is the perfect metaphor for their entire conflict. Seth represents raw, unthinking power, strong enough to carve a boat from a mountain, but foolish enough to think it would float. Horus represents cunning and intellect, smart enough to trick his opponent, but not quite clever enough to get away with it cleanly. The contest proves nothing, except that neither of them is particularly suited to rule based on sporting merit. The gods are no closer to a solution, the throne remains contested, and the feud descends once again into a violent, undignified brawl in the middle of the Nile. It was clear that these childish contests would never end the war. After 80 years of hippo fights, head births, and cheating boat races, the gods have finally had enough. Ra is tired, Thoth is exhausted, the entire Pantheon is sick to death of the endless childish squabbling. The final appeal is made, not to a contest, but to the wisest and most respected authority they can think of, the murdered and resurrected king, Osiris, now ruling as lord of the underworld. A divine letter is dispatched to the land of the dead, explaining the stalemate and asking for his judgment. Osiris's reply is swift, sharp, and dripping with righteous indignation. He asks a simple, devastating question. Why has the throne been kept from my son Horus? He doesn't stop there. Osiris delivers a chilling ultimatum to the gods of the living. He reminds them that he is not just some forgotten king. He is the lord of the dead, master of the afterlife, and all souls, including theirs, must eventually come before him for judgment. He controls the demons and monsters of the underworld, and he makes it very clear that if they do not place his son on the throne immediately, he will unleash his terrifying minions upon the world of the living. Faced with a choice between crowning Horus or facing a zombie apocalypse led by a justly furious god-king, the tribunal's decision is suddenly very easy. The gods hastily award the throne to Horus. He is crowned the rightful king of Egypt, finally uniting the lands and restoring order, or to the cosmos. His long and arduous struggle is over. But what of Seth? He isn't destroyed or banished. In a final, curious twist, Ra, feeling a bit sorry for the perennial loser, adopts Seth. He gives him a new job to stand on the prow of the solar bark and use his immense strength and chaotic nature to fight off Ra's greatest enemy, the serpent demon Apep, who tries to swallow the sun each night. Seth's violence and chaos are not eliminated, they are simply repurposed for the good of the cosmos. And so the Great War ends not with a bang, but with a divine reshuffling of the celestial bureaucracy. Horus gets the throne, and Seth gets a consolation prize and a new gig as Ra's bodyguard. The ultimate dysfunctional family feud is resolved, with order restored but chaos given a crucial, ongoing role to play. The story teaches a fundamental Egyptian truth. The world needs both the stability of Horus and the raw, protective power of Seth. It's a messy, unsatisfying, and deeply pragmatic conclusion to an utterly insane story, perfectly reflecting the chaotic, contradictory, and ultimately collaborative nature of the Egyptian gods themselves. Before he ruled the underworld, Osiris was Egypt's golden king, handsome, wise, and beloved. He taught humanity to farm, brew beer, and live in peace. Under his rule, Egypt flourished. But his brother Seth, god of chaos, watched with envy. As Osiris returned from spreading civilization, Seth began to plot, a plan that would change Egypt forever. Seth's plan to get rid of his perfect brother Osiris was a masterpiece of betrayal. At a lavish banquet, he unveiled a beautiful sarcophagus, promising it to whoever fit inside. Osiris, unsuspecting, lay down, and Seth's trap snapped shut. Sealed inside, Osiris was cast into the Nile. Seth seized the throne, but he forgot one thing. Osiris's wife, Isis, was not done yet. Isis's grief over Osiris's death was earth-shattering, but she refused to give in to despair. Disguised as a widow, she tracked Osiris's coffin down the Nile, all the way to Byblos, where a magical tree had grown around it. The king of Byblos, unaware, made the tree into a palace pillar. Isis, using her wits and magic, infiltrated the court and revealed her true identity to reclaim the coffin. She returned to Egypt, hiding Osiris's body in the marshes, hoping to revive him. But Seth, ever the villain, discovered the coffin, tore Osiris into 14 pieces, and scattered them across Egypt. Isis's quest was far from over. The real scavenger hunt had just begun. The fate of Osiris, and Egypt itself now hung in the balance. The stakes had never been higher. Seth's dismemberment of Osiris was the ultimate violation, but Isis and her sister Nephthys refused to give up. Transforming into kites, they scoured Egypt, gathering Osiris's scattered remains, founding temples at each site. 13 pieces were found, but the 14th, his phallus, was lost to the Nile, devoured by fish, making it taboo forever. Undeterred, Isis crafted a magical replacement, reassembled Osiris, and wrapped him in linen, the first mummy. With her magic, she revived him just long enough to conceive Horus, the Avenger. Isis's determination and sorcery defied death itself. Osiris was resurrected, and hope for Egypt's future was reborn. The cycle of vengeance and renewal continued. Isis had outwitted chaos, but the struggle was far from over. Isis's magic couldn't restore Osiris to life, but it made him king of the underworld. Osiris descended into the Duat, deposing the old gods and establishing himself as judge of the dead. He brought order to the afterlife, weighing each soul's heart against the feather of Ma'at. The righteous entered paradise, the field of reeds. The wicked faced oblivion, devoured by Amit, the monstrous soul-eater. No hellfire, just erasure. Osiris's rule transformed death from chaos into justice. The afterlife became a place of hope and consequence. The scales of judgment now determined every soul's fate. Osiris's tragedy became Egypt's eternal law. Welcome to the afterlife, now under new management. Even Ra, the creator god, wasn't safe from divine intrigue. As he aged, his magical saliva became Isis's opportunity. She collected his drool, mixed it with earth, and created a venomous serpent. The snake bit Ra, poisoning him with his own essence. No god could cure him. Isis offered to help, but demanded Ra's secret name, the source of his power. Desperate, Ra revealed it, and Isis healed him, gaining immense magical authority. The balance of power shifted. Isis became the unrivaled queen of magic. Ra's reign was forever changed by his own spit. The gods learned never underestimate Isis. In Egypt, even a drool can change the cosmos. Amidst all the chaos, Thoth, the ibis-headed god of wisdom, kept the universe running. He solved cosmic crises, like when Ra forbade Nut from giving birth on any day of the year. Thoth gambled with the moon god, won extra days, and created the 365-day calendar, allowing Nut's children, Osiris, Isis, Seth, Nephthys, and Horus, to be born. He patched up gods, fixed time, and managed divine disasters. Thoth was the cosmic accountant, cleaning up after everyone else. Without him, reality would unravel. He was the unsung hero, holding the world together with wisdom and wit. The gods' chaos was his daily grind. Thoth, the universe's most overworked problem solver. The Egyptian gods, like a dysfunctional family, could end the world on a whim. Sometimes Ra just gets tired, climbs onto the sky goddess Nut, and leaves, plunging everything into darkness. Or chaos wins, and the world dissolves into watery nothingness. But the end is never final, just a cosmic reset, ready for the next divine mood swing. The Egyptian gods weren't serene or wise. They were a divine hot mess. From weaponized lettuce to rampaging eyeballs, their stories are a cosmic blooper reel. These gods were chaotic, flawed, and hilariously human. True gold standard inductees into the Divine Hot Mess Hall of Fame. And trust me, we've only scratched the surface. Next time, we'll dive into the wild afterlife. Don't miss it. Right, let's get this show on the road. Welcome, dearly departed, to the Egyptian Afterlife Orientation Program. I know what you're thinking. Where are the welcome drinks? Is there a buffet? Forget it. There are no complimentary canapes, no awkward icebreakers, and definitely no exit signs. You've officially checked out of the land of the living, and your check-in here is, well, permanent. This isn't a holiday resort in Sharm el-Sheikh. It's the eternal desert, and the only itinerary on offer is survival. Your one-way ticket has been punched, so you might as well pay attention. This isn't a timeshare presentation you can just walk out of. Think of this as the ultimate survival guide, but for when you've already failed at the surviving part. We're here to talk you through the next phase, dying like an absolute pro in ancient Egypt. That is, of course, assuming you've done your homework. Did you remember to pack your spell book? Did you pay the priests enough to keep your name on the cosmic mailing list? If not, you're in for a rough ride. This is the big league of eternal existence, and the admin is an absolute killer. Honestly, the paperwork alone is enough to make you wish you could die all over again. But that's not an option. Forget everything you thought you knew about kicking the bucket. This isn't about floating up to a cloudy paradise or playing a harp for all eternity. The Egyptian afterlife is a full-time job with 0 holidays and a seriously high staff turnover. It's a sprawling, chaotic landscape filled with more sand than you can shake a stick at, riddles that make no sense, and a management team composed entirely of temperamental deities with a flair for the dramatic. It's like being dropped into a cosmic escape room designed by a sadist with a god complex. Which, to be fair, is pretty much what it is. So, sit tight and try not to panic. Although, a little bit of panic is probably healthy. It shows you're paying attention. Over the next few minutes, we're going to give you the lowdown on navigating this treacherous new reality. We'll cover the key players, the soul-crushing bureaucracy, and the final exam that determines whether you get to enjoy an eternity of back-breaking farm labor or become a light snack for a crocodile-lion-hippo hybrid. It's all to play for. No pressure then, let's begin. Meet your new line manager, Anubis, the jackal-headed god of the dead and head of Afterlife HR. He's not here to fetch a stick. He's here to fetch your soul and guide you through the underworld. He's the ultimate gatekeeper, your examiner, and your worst nightmare all in one. He'll lead you from your tomb to the Hall of Final Judgment. No small talk, no jokes, just business. So be nice to the jackal god. He's your only ally in this ultimate HR nightmare. Now, let's set some ground rules for your journey. First off, this orientation doesn't come with a PowerPoint presentation. There are no branded pens, no little notepads, and no coffee break. The learning here is strictly on the job, and the stakes are cosmically high. The curriculum is simple: survive. The environment, however, is anything but. The do-it isn't hell in the traditional sense. You could argue it's worse. It's a supernatural obstacle course designed to filter out the unworthy, and it's managed with all the efficiency and warmth of a government department on a Monday morning. It's pure, unadulterated bureaucracy. Imagine the worst place you've ever had to queue. Now multiply that by infinity, add a few soul-eating monsters, and set it all on fire. That's the duat. You've got to contend with lakes of fire, rivers that flow backwards, and caverns filled with screaming demons. There are gates guarded by knife-wielding gods who demand secret passwords, and giant snakes that want to swallow your soul whole. It's a relentless, nightmarish landscape that changes every hour, and you've got to navigate all 12 of them to make it to the finish line. It's less of a gentle stroll and more of a frantic, terrifying scramble for your eternal life. The whole system is designed to test your worthiness, and every step is a potential pitfall. Forget one spell from your Book of the Dead and you're toast. Stumble into the wrong cavern and you might find yourself stuck upside down for eternity. Annoy the wrong minor deity and you could be condemned to an eternity of eating filth. The ancient Egyptians didn't mess around when it came to the afterlife. They believed that eternal life wasn't a right. It was a privilege you had to earn, and the journey to prove it was designed to be as difficult and terrifying as humanly or divinely possible. So, as you embark on this little adventure, remember this. The rules are cryptic, the path is treacherous, and help is in short supply. You're on your own, armed with nothing but the spells you memorized, and the good deeds you hopefully managed to rack up during your time on Earth. This isn't a game. There are no extra lives, no cheat codes, and certainly no reset button. There is only the path forward, through the sandstorms and the soul snatchers, with the hope of reaching the final judgment in one piece. Good luck with that. You're going to need it. Meet Anubis, the HR guy of the afterlife. But the real boss, Osiris. Once king of the living, Osiris ruled Egypt kindly until his jealous brother Set threw a deadly party. Set's party trick, a sarcophagus trap. Osiris fit perfectly, and Set sealed him inside, tossing him into the Nile. That betrayal changed everything. Osiris became the first soul of the afterlife, and the reason you're here. Egyptian mythology is never simple. When Osiris was killed, his wife Isis, goddess of magic, refused to give up. She found his body, but Set tore it apart and scattered the pieces across Egypt. Undeterred, Isis transformed into a bird, searching for every piece. With help, she reassembled Osiris, inventing mummification. But he became king of the underworld, forever changed. Osiris rules the Duat, the Egyptian underworld, not a fiery hell, but a cosmic bureaucracy. Imagine the divine DMV, endless paperwork, strict gatekeepers, and a journey through 12 perilous realms. Each level has its own challenges, grumpy deities, and bizarre demons. If your afterlife paperwork isn't perfect, you're sent to the back of the line, or worse, into the jaws of a monster. Surviving the Egyptian underworld isn't just about bravery, it's about paperwork. The Book of the Dead is your cheat sheet, packed with spells and passwords for every gate and guardian. Get it wrong, and you're stuck, or worse, devoured by Amit, the soul-eating beast. So, have your scrolls ready, know your lines, and remember, in the Duat, cosmic red tape decides your fate. In ancient Egypt, you weren't just one person. You were a whole spiritual squad. Think of yourself as a team, not a solo act. The Egyptians believed you had multiple soul parts, each with a job to do. If one went missing, the whole afterlife plan fell apart. So when you died, it wasn't just you heading to the afterlife. It was your entire spiritual crew. In ancient Egypt, your soul had a team, your spirit buddy, who stayed in your tomb and needed offerings, and your ghostly drone, a bird-headed version of you that could travel between worlds. Every day, your ghostly drone would fly out, explore, then return to your body at night to recharge. That's why mummification and tombs were vital. Without them, your soul squad had nowhere to go, and your afterlife was lost. In ancient Egypt, the ultimate goal was a spiritual glow-up, your soul transformed into a being of pure light, able to live among the gods. But every hero has a dark side. Your shadow was a vital part of your soul, always with you, needing protection even after death. The Egyptians saw the self as a complex team, body, heart, spirit, and shadow, all working together for eternal existence. In ancient Egypt, your name was everything. More than just a label, it was your very essence. To know or speak a name was to give someone power and existence, even in the afterlife. Erasing a name was cosmic murder. If forgotten, you vanished forever. Your eternal future depended on the living remembering your name. In Egypt, your name was your legacy and your key to survival. So let's recap the game plan. To successfully navigate the afterlife, you need to keep your entire spiritual team in sync. Your mummified body, must remain intact in its tomb to act as home base. Your needs a steady stream of spiritual snacks to keep its energy up. Your free roaming needs to be able to find its way back to the body every night to rest and recharge. Your shadow, needs to be kept safe from demons. And your name, must be remembered and spoken by the living to anchor your very existence. It's a full-time job, even after you're dead. The danger was that these components could become separated. If your tomb was robbed and your body destroyed, you would have nowhere to return to. It would become a lost, wandering ghost, a restless spirit unable to find peace. Without offerings, would starve. If your name was chiseled off your tomb walls, you'd suffer the second death, a complete erasure from reality. The entire system was a delicate balancing act, a fragile web of connections between the physical world and the spiritual realm. One broken link, and the whole chain reaction could lead to your oblivion. This is why the Egyptians were so obsessed with permanence. They built their tombs out of stone on the west bank of the Nile, the land of the dead, designed to last for eternity. They wrote contracts with funerary priests to ensure offerings and rituals would continue for generations. They inscribed names on the most enduring materials they could find. They weren't just being morbid, they were being practical. They were setting up an eternal franchise, and they needed to ensure its long-term viability. Every part of their funerary culture was designed to prevent soul disconnection. It's a far cry from the simple idea of your soul just floating off to heaven, isn't it? It's a complex, high-maintenance project with numerous points of failure. Dying wasn't the end, it was the beginning of a whole new set of responsibilities. You had to have your body preserved, your tomb secured, your offerings supplied, and your name remembered. Your soul wasn't a single entity, but a team, and you were the manager, the coach, and the star player all at once. And now that your team is assembled, it's time to head for the final, terrifying stage, the job interview from hell. You've made it. 12 hours of darkness, demons dodged, passwords remembered. But now comes the real test. Anubis leads you into the Hall of Two Truths, the grandest room in the underworld. Here, your life is audited by 42 divine judges, with Osiris presiding. Thoth, the ibis-headed scribe, stands ready to record your fate. The atmosphere is tense. This is no ordinary trial. No excuses, no sweet talking, just the facts of your life. Every deed, good or bad, is about to be revealed. Imagine your worst secrets read aloud to a room of gods. This is the final gateway. Pass, and you reach paradise. Fail, and well, you don't want to know. All your preparation has led to this moment. Let the judgment begin. In the center, the scales of justice await. Anubis places your heart, your conscience and memory on one side. On the other, the feather of Ma'at, symbol of truth and order. The test: is your heart as light as truth itself? If so, you're worthy. If not, your misdeeds weigh you down. No tricks, no lies. The scales reveal all. You watch tense as the balance settles. If your heart matches the feather, you pass. If it's heavy, the verdict is final. This is the ultimate lie detector. One shot at paradise or oblivion. The scales decide. While the scales weigh your soul, you must recite the negative confession. Instead of listing your good deeds, you declare the sins you avoided. One by one, you address each judge. I have not stolen, I have not killed, I have not lied. The list is long and specific, covering everything from murder to making someone cry. It's a test of memory and morality. You must know each judge's name and their sin. This ritual proves you lived by Ma'at's order, or at least that you know how to say you did. Some say it's a magical loophole. Deny your sins and maybe they vanish. It's your last chance to clear your record. Were you perfect? Probably not. But in front of the gods, you try anyway. Anything to avoid what comes next. If your heart fails the test, there's no fiery pit, just Ammit. Ammit, the devourer, waits by the scale's crocodile head, lion's front, Hippos back. She's the ultimate enforcer, the eater of unworthy souls. Fail and your heart is tossed to her. One bite and you're erased. No afterlife, no second chance. This is the dreaded second death, total oblivion. For Egyptians, non-existence was the worst fate imaginable. Ammit isn't evil, just the final filter. Only the worthy move on. Pass and you reach paradise. Fail and you're a snack for a monster. The stakes couldn't be higher. Be good or be gone. The scales settle. Your fate is sealed. If you pass, you're declared true of voice. Osiris welcomes you. Your soul is whole, ready for paradise. The field of reeds awaits. Egypt perfected, eternal sunshine, endless plenty. But paradise comes with a twist. Eternal farming. Your reward? A plot of land, endless harvests, no holidays. For Egyptians, this was bliss. For others, maybe less so. The wealthy had shabtis, magical helpers to do the work. For everyone else, it's you and your hoe forever. Still, it's better than being erased. You've survived the underworld, passed the test, and earned your place. Welcome to eternity. Hope you like farming. The journey is over, or just beginning. Paradise, Egyptian style. You've made it to paradise, but your story is just a small part of a bigger cycle. For Egyptians, death wasn't an end. It was a daily cosmic event. Every night, the sun god Ra journeys through the underworld, battling chaos. Each dawn, he's reborn, bringing light to the world. Your journey mirrors his: death, trial, rebirth. Ra's nightly struggle is the blueprint for every soul's passage. The cycle of birth, death, and renewal is the heart of Egyptian belief. If even gods must face the underworld, so must everyone else. The setting sun is a rehearsal for the soul's journey. Darkness is never final. Dawn always returns. Death is just a transition, a ticket to the cosmic drama. The afterlife is a promise. After every night, a new day. Every night, Ra's boat sails through the underworld, facing Apep, the colossal serpent of chaos, who tries to swallow the sun and plunge the world into darkness. The gods fight back, led by Set, using magic and teamwork to keep the sun rising. Even priests on Earth join in, cursing Apep with rituals and wax effigies. The universe survives, one epic battle at a time. The Egyptians believed humanity was always one bad decision away from cosmic obliteration. When mortals plotted against Ra, he unleashed Sekhmet, the lioness goddess, to punish them, nearly wiping everyone out. Only a cunning plan, flooding the fields with beer dyed to look like blood, saved humanity. In the end, beer saved the world. In Egypt, survival was always conditional. So, the sun dies every night. A chaos snake tries to end the world on a daily basis, and humanity is perpetually on the gods' naughty list. The entire system seems incredibly unstable, held together by duct tape and divine anger management issues. What happens when the gods just get tired of it all? What if Ra decides he can't be bothered with another night fighting Apep? What if Thoth, the god of wisdom, just throws his hands up and says, "That's it, I'm done with all this paperwork"? Well, the Egyptians had stories for that too. They imagined a scenario where the whole cosmic machine just grinds to a halt. In some texts, there's a prophecy of a great unraveling. It's not about a single monster winning, but about the whole system failing. It's a vision of total cosmic collapse. The gods themselves will die. Osiris will be consumed by demons. The sun will stop rising. The Nile will flow backwards. The social order will completely invert. The poor will become rich. The rich will become poor. Servants will become masters. The stars will fall from the sky, and the whole world will be plunged back into the dark, watery, chaotic abyss from which it first emerged. It's the ultimate rage quit. This isn't a punishment for humanity's sins, like the flood in other mythologies. It's more like cosmic entropy. It's the system running out of steam. The gods get old, they get weary, they resign. In one text, the god Atum, the original creator, basically says that one day he and Osiris are going to get tired of the whole show. They're going to destroy everything they've created, turn back into primeval serpents, and float around in the primordial waters of Nun, the state of things before creation. It's a vision of the universe just shutting down, turning off the lights and going back to bed. This idea of a final apocalypse is a recurring theme, but it's treated with a strange sort of calm. It's not a terrifying end, but a natural conclusion. Everything that has a beginning must have an end, even the universe itself. The cycle of creation, existence, and destruction is the ultimate expression of the Egyptian worldview. Death isn't just personal, it's cosmic. The entire universe is subject to the same rules of life, death, and decay as a single human being. It's a sobering thought. Even the gods aren't immune to getting old and wanting to retire. For the ancient Egyptians, even the end of the universe wasn't really the end. It was just another part of the cycle. After collapse, a new world would form and the cosmic cycle would start again. The apocalypse was a cosmic reboot, hitting reset on reality itself. Eternity, it seems, gets boring without a bit of drama. Death is a reboot button, not an off switch, just part of the grand, repeating pattern. Welcome to the Egyptian afterlife, where dying is just the start of a complicated new career. Keep your name carved in stone, make sure your family packs snacks, and treat your mummy well. Learn your lines from the Book of the Dead. Those passwords matter. And remember, your heart's on the scales, so be good, or at least convincing. Survive the checklist, and eternity might just be a little less eternal work. The ancient Egyptians didn't dream of a final paradise. They embraced the grind, life, death, and everything in between as a cycle of effort and renewal. Your eternal reward? Getting up every day to plow the same divine field, work as purpose, forever. Even Ra, the sun god, must fight each night so the sun rises again. The beauty is in the repetition. The Egyptians saw each sunrise as a miracle, not monotony. So embrace the grind. It's all we've got, and it's enough.
And there you have it. The Egyptian afterlife. Complicated? Definitely. Entertaining? Always. Now hit that like button before Anubis starts weighing your heart.